So they already got whole cities that are sanctuary cities that are under the control of the United Nations in America. In America. How is it that people have committed high treason to this point that we just sell the people out? You're not allowed to do a treaty with a foreign entity. As a mayor, you can't give your city to the UN. UN funds are coming in. We've got whole enclaves. There's one place in Ohio, 400,000 Somalians living in what looks like Mogadishu. If you go there and you walk the street, dogs on the street with the cans with fires in the cans and goats walking around. You think, my son-in-law was in there, he said, Dad, I thought it was in Africa. And it's all under Sharia law, mosques everywhere. The police don't even go in there because they're not in charge. 400,000. These were UN cities that have been built over the last 25 years in America. And there's many enclaves like that. There's parts of in Michigan where nobody even goes. It's all under Sharia. I'm not even making it up. We have a former FBI investigator who's written all about it. He's studied it. He's actually tracked it. Am I making this stuff up? Give me a microphone. People think I pulled this stuff off the top of my head. Tell them who you are. Come help me here a little bit, because he studied. He's got all the facts. He knows where the stuff is.
I'm Paul Williams. I worked for the FBI for many years, and what Pastor Rodney is absolutely saying is gospel truth. I've been in parts of Detroit where people cannot enter. I'm not even allowed to go. A cab driver wouldn't even allow me to, was afraid to transport me into that part of Detroit. But at Lewistown and in places throughout the country, there are Islamic enclaves that are ruled by Islamic law. I have seen them. I have seen Islamic paramilitary camps throughout the country, including some in Georgia, some in South Carolina, many in Pennsylvania, many in Texas, where young Muslims are trained for the jihad, where they go to Pakistan and from Pakistan are transported to Afghanistan, and they take war, they join the Taliban and fire and kill our troops. But what everything that Pastor Rodney is saying is and he is the only one, and that's why I came down here from Pennsylvania, he is the only one I know with the guts to tell you people the truth.
Now, he's one book, Operation Gladio, which is all about the Catholic Church, the history of the Catholic Church, and the Mafia and the CIA, how they work together. Just tell them a little bit about that.
Absolutely true. Well, the Vatican Bank was a depository for the CIA since 1947, where
so that's why the Pope can come and address Congress.
Right. The money for the black operations, you got to realize that the CIA's covert operations are not funded by taxpayers. It's not in the federal budget. It's not in any budget. The money for covert operations comes from black ops, and that is the heroin trade.
From drugs.
From drugs, the heroin trade in the United States and throughout the world. That's why we're in Afghanistan. That's why we're in Vietnam. And that's why Pastor Rod, this ministry must spread and grow to reach over 100 million, because that is crucial. And I, for one, will do anything in my power to make that a reality.
Now, let me ask you a question. So are you telling me that military aircraft are flying into Andrews Air Force Base loaded with heroin?
In Andrews Air Force Base, and this is the way the drugs are transported. Once again, I worked for the FBI. I had access to confidential records. What I'm saying, if it's not true, I should be thrown in jail. The drugs are transported from Afghanistan to Turkey. From Turkey, they're transported in NATO planes into Brussels. From Brussels, they're transported to U.S. military bases, including Andrews. And from Andrews, they're transported to places like Paterson, New Jersey, Chicago, and Baltimore. And it's all undertaken by the CIA. This is gospel truth. And that is what is funding our black operations, and that is what's really funding our attempts to gain control of the world's natural resources. And it's a nefarious undertaking. And once again, the only one, and I have a PhD. I've taught in major Eastern universities, including NYU, throughout the country, and the only place you will hear the truth is here.
So Getty's book, Operation Gladio, and the new one, what's it called?
I came here I'm writing a book called Among the Ruins about the Catholic Church, but I intend in this coming year, to write a book called Killing Uncle Sam, The Demise of the United States of America, and I will just contribute to this book, but it will be written, I hope and pray, by Dr. Rodney Howard-Browne.
So we're going to co-author that book. We're going to put it all out
within a year
about the central banking system and what they're doing. And so when does the new book on Catholicism come out?
The new book on Catholicism will come out in April or May.
And what's that about?
It's called Among the Ruins. It's a story of how the Catholic Church has become infiltrated. They talked in recent WikiLeaks about the infiltration of the Catholic. That took place a long time ago, and it deals with the Vatican, with the fact that within Vatican City right now, and this is verified by all statistics, over 60% of the inhabitants, including the priests and the popes in Vatican City, including Pope Paul VI, were practicing homosexuals. It deals with the fact that over 10% of the priests in the United States right now are pedophiles. It deals with the facts right now that when Catholics are sent to seminaries, they're taken out from the seminaries at night and taken to gay strip clubs and nightclubs in places like every major city where a Catholic seminary takes place. Talking about corruption that's unbelievable that is right now indigenous to the Catholic Church. I was born and raised a Catholic, so I'm not talking as an outsider.
And then tell them about what you uncovered in Canada with those orphans. That's like mind-blowing.
I hate to take this microphone away from Pastor Rodney. And I mean, I can't shine his shoes. But no. In Canada, can I walk away from this for a second? In Canada, what happened was, I learned from him. And I understand why he's doing this, because if I move, I don't get quite as nervous. But in Canada, what happened was in 1947, in 1950s, Catholics had orphanages, and at the orphanages, they were receiving for every orphan $2.45, and they realized that if these orphans were classified as mentally deficient or mentally retarded or crazy, they could transform the orphanages into mental hospitals where they could collect almost $5 for every patient they had, student patient. And so overnight, hundreds of thousands of orphans in Canada, this is a Catholic church, Catholic orphanages, became mental hospitals. The children were subjected to the most horrific experimentation imaginable with various drugs, with shock therapy. They were taken out of schools and placed on work farms, and all the revenue was amassed by the Catholic Church. Mass graves, and this story is not told, mass graves with tens of thousands of kids were found outside of Montreal, where the kids were killed in these hospitals and simply dumped in these farmlands that were really pig farms, and their bodies were dug up in many cases and devoured by pigs. But this is just part of the story. They're called the Duplessis orphans, and you can look it up yourself. The Duplessis orphans. Montreal was sued for this. Quebec was sued for this, and it all came to light in court, and it's all verifiable. And this is just one little indication of what has taken place within a body that's supposedly Christian. So once again, if you're a Catholic like I was, please become aware of Francis, what he's representing, his nefarious campaign to create the New World Order, the fact that these people are capable of everything to further their goals, and their goals are all economic, and that springs back to 1942 when the Vatican Bank was established, and the Vatican Bank remains, and look at Moneyville, remains, and I'm speaking to you once again from a holy place, the number one institution for money laundering. That's drug money, money laundering in the world, and people are turning a blind eye to it. You hear Pope Francis talk about global warming, speaking about all kinds of nonsense, but he will never admit to the fact that the plague of heroin, that the demise of Christian values is all being perpetuated by the Catholic Church.
Now, let me just ask you one more question. So you've spent many thousands of hours in research. What was probably, of all the things that you studied, the most shocking thing as an American that you couldn't believe, that you had to look at again and again and again? What was the most shocking thing? What would you say out of all the things, what's the most shocking thing that just rocked you to the core?
One easy answer for that is, once again, I was working with the FBI. I was uncovering centers of terrorism in the United States. One place was called Islamburg. It's in New York State, between Deposit and Hancock, New York. If you go to Islamburg, and this is only one of at least 60 compounds, all controlled by Jamaat al-Fuqra in the United States. If you go there, you'll find obstacle courses. They recruit young African Americans from the inner cities. And do you know how they recruit them? Because most of them are, 60% of them, are in the prison systems. And that's where the greatest converts to Islam come from the prison systems and the African Americans in the prison systems. So from the prison systems, they go to these paramilitary camps like Islamburg. If you go to Islamburg, once again, this is going to sound crazy, you'll find hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of raw recruits from the prison with guns, semi-automatics, AK-47s, fully automatic weaponry, explosives are going on there day and night. You will find that they are trained for months and months and months in underground bunkers. They have landing strips there. People come in from the Middle East all the time. I've seen all this. At Islamburg and these other compounds, every one of these other compounds, there are graves, mass graves. This is on American soil, unmarked. Heaven knows what's buried there. But the people who are trained there go off to, as I told you before, to Pakistan, and then they join the Taliban. Many of the people who were involved in the 1993 bombing of the World Trade Center came from Islamburg. The Beltway snipers came from Islamburg. There have been more crimes committed on U.S. soil by these groups, they're called a Jamaat al-Fuqra, than any other terror group, including Al-Qaeda. And this is what I found out. They're all governed by a guy by the name of Jilani, Sheikh Jilani. Jilani came from, he was a member of Tablighi Jamaat, which is a group of Islamic missionaries. They came here, they were brought here by the CIA. He was brought here by the CIA. These missionaries, when they recruited blacks in the prison, young African Americans, they were sent by the CIA. And when these people go to Islamburg and they're trained, and when there were many of them that came to justice, like Clement Rodney L., all believed they were CIA operatives. We're doing this. We have created on our own, in our own country, a terror group second to none. And when these people are trained, they're trained to fight our own troops. And it's